Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Hey guys, what's up? Today we are playing some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. Now, before I start playing here and talk about it, let's see if I can do the 9 lives code. I hope so. Hope I got it. But anyway, we are playing the arcade version or the arcade port on the NES, and pre-recorded on the other side, I have the actual arcade version that was ported to the 360, which unfortunately is not available anymore because of licensing. But yeah, it was actually a pretty good game. It was $5 when it came out. It was digitally, of course, 4-player online play. So has that. I remember walking in the arcade and you'd hear that Ninja Turtle theme. It was really cool. But the NES version, for what it is a lot of fun. I mean, obviously it's nowhere near as good as the arcade version. Also, just a little quick note, I got some weird scaling on the 360 footage. Alright, we did get the 9 live code. Excellent. But the signal is a little squished on that because the game plays, actually on the 360 it stretches it out of widescreen. So I tried to kind of squish it so it looked kind of native. So it may not look perfect, but that's okay. But anyway, yeah, on the NES it was titled as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 because it was the second Ninja Turtles game to come out on NES. And yeah, they did a good job just capturing that, you know, arcade beat-em-up feel to it. Of course, there's limitations to the NES hardware. You don't get a lot of the, like the various colors and the flashy graphics and whatnot. I mean, you can see side by side, but it's a lot of fun. But also, the NES version had a lot more content. Each stage, if I remember correctly, was stretched out, so it was twice as long. And it's been a while since I played this, so it's gonna be a good memory refresher here. But also, there was 2 extra stages with 2 extra bosses. And there's various differences that we'll talk about as we play through the game. Of course, you see a little Pizza Hut sign there. I mean, this game had so much Pizza Hut promotion in it, it was ridiculous. I mean, the instruction booklet when you bought the game had a coupon for a free Pizza Hut pizza, which I remember using when I was a kid as well. So the trick I'm doing right now is I'm trying to hit both buttons at the same time, or kind of at the same time. Kind of want to hit the jump button a split second before, and they'll do like the little swipe move. It's a pretty powerful move. It actually kills a foot soldier in one hit. You'll see me do it on, oh, see like the stairs here are getting repeated, so the stage is, it's longer than the arcade counterpart. But anyway, it is a kind of a one-hit kill against the foot soldiers. You'll see me doing it in the arcade version as well. The arcade version also has an extra move where you can do it, if you do it just right, you can do it while jumping in the air, which the NES version does not have that. It just has the straight, it just has the straight up jump kick. It doesn't have like all the variations of the jump kicks or the jumping attacks or anything like that. But yeah, I actually like the first arcade version much better than I like Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time is a great game, especially on Super Nintendo. But the arcade version of the first Turtles is just so much better. It has the voices from the cartoon. It has the theme song. A lot of the boss fights. I mean, the graphics and like the character models, what they designed it out of. I mean, it's right out of the cartoon. Of course, another limitation you'll see here is you'll only see 3 foot soldiers on the screen at once. You'll never see more than 3. And you'll never see multiple types. Like, you won't see like the white ones and purple ones or anything like that. You won't see any variations. Again, because of limitations of the console itself. But it throws them at you pretty good. As soon as one dies, another one will come at you. But yeah, the game is 2-player. I mean, you and a friend can play. I used to be really good at the arcade version. I used to be able to make it all the way to the sewer level on just 1/4. I'm a little rusty. I want to practice at it. I noticed after not playing the 360 version for a while when I was capturing this earlier. Oh, by the way, I got my my Turtles shirt on. It's a little faded now because I've been washed so many times. But I've only had it for a couple of years. But yeah. Now I forgot what I was talking about here. That's okay. I'm sure I'll hit my mind again. Of course, the Roadkill Rodney robots, which was only in the first 4 or 5 episodes of the TV show. It's a lot easier to do a straight jump kick. Because of the limitations of the various jump attacks, it's a lot easier to do just a straight up jump kick. But because of all the stuff happening on screen, you'll see a lot of sprite flickering in this game. I forgot how much fun the NES version is. I haven't played this in forever. It's a lot easier to just, hit the bosses with just straight up jump attacks. Of course, with Rocksteady here, you gotta watch that diagonal. But I'm actually kind of bummed to this day that this game never got ported to any of the 16-bit or even the 32-bit consoles at the time. I mean, it would have been really cool to see this on the Super Nintendo or the Genesis, or even something a little more obscure like the Sega CD or something like that. I mean, like you got the Final Fight game. I mean, they brought that to the Sega CD, and it was a much more arcade perfect port than the NES version. Usually when I play the arcade versions, I like to pick Leonardo. And I don't know if it's my imagination, but he kind of has like a little wider up and down hitbox, so I find it a little easier to hit opponents. Donatello kind of has the length, but Leonardo kind of has a wider hit. NES version, I don't know if there's a difference or not. But when I play the arcade version, I noticed I can do like various attack patterns with Leonardo that I cannot do with other characters. Oops. Come on. Jump attack. Come on. Swing attack. There we go. I remember first couple times I played this in the arcade, I was just blown away by how good this game was. Which, of course, then I started playing that first NES Ninja Turtles game a little bit more. Oh, God, there we go. But I remember writing a letter to Konami and Ultra when I was a kid, because the information was in the Nintendo Power magazine. And it's like, hey, can you guys please make the arcade version of Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo? And I remember my friend that lived down the road, my friend Jim, he said he did the same thing. And then it was like 2 months later, I flipped through Nintendo Power, and lo and behold, it shows a preview of the game actually coming out. Which was funny because, being a little kid at the time, I was like, oh my God, they read my letter! It was funny because after I sent that letter, it was like 3 weeks later, I actually got like a whole bunch of brochures from Konami, both for Konami games and Ultra games. Ultra being a subsidiary of Konami at the time. Just all the various Nintendo games that Konami was releasing and had released on the NES. So it was kind of fun memory. But yeah, you'll see a lot of these stages here, like I was talking about earlier. Not so much this stage, but the other ones. You'll see me progress through the arcade version a lot quicker, just because a lot of the stages are shorter. I still do the. They even got the scream in the game. That's kind of cool. Also, the NES version I'm playing on my HDMI modded NES. So, because I love the HDMI modded NES. I'm so glad I got this. God, these boomerang guys are going to be a little tough. Not as tough as the arcade version, but... Remember when I first played the arcade version of Ninja Turtles, and I was telling my dad, after we left the arcade and we're driving home, like, I love that game, it's so realistic. I meant to say authentic to the cartoon. It's like, it's so realistic to the cartoon. Because I didn't quite know what realistic meant. Let's say it's so authentic to the cartoon. Because it wasn't like, probably like 2 weeks prior, my dad used that same term. This game is so realistic, like, talking about a sports game that him and I were playing. I want to say it was one of the baseball games on NES. He thought it was really cool. I forget what sports game. I think it was Bases Loaded, or... I don't think it was RBI Baseball, but... Alright. Put the sewer lid back at him. See, on the arcade version, I can just swipe at him, move up, swipe at him, move down. I can do it with Leonardo, but the NES version can't really do that. But that's okay. So the fighting and the patterns are definitely a little different. But it's still a really faithful remake to the arcade game. But talking back about the one-up arcade cabinets again, I'd love to buy them, but I'd rather buy them if they're like full-size arcade cabinets and if they took quarters or something like that. But I think it's really awesome that a lot of those arcade games are getting a physical remake, a physical re-release in some way or fashion. Even if it's like a big-on cabinet, I think it's really cool. So I hope they keep making them. Again, I hope they make a... this guy's hard to do the repeated jump kick thing. But anyway, I hope they re-release a lot of them eventually in like full-size arcade cabinets, but something's better than nothing. Or if he has the little to turn the lights out thing and fall in the sewer. Who put the lights out? Kind of has that comic humor to it. Of course, there I am on the arcade side fighting both Bebop and Rocksteady. Isn't that point of the game you gotta fight them both? There we go. Now the sewer level. Gotta catch up to my arcade counterpart there. Kind of weird here, like on the sewer level, the NES version, they had it to where the legs go in the water. When the arcade version didn't, you just kind of walk on the water. But that's okay. But I don't know if you guys have seen way back when I did my Turtles in Time versus Hyperstone Heist comparison, the Super Nintendo versus the Genesis game. I thought the Genesis version of the game, because it wasn't really like a Turtles in Time port, it was just kind of based off the material from the game. Kind of like how Castlevania Dracula X on Super Nintendo used assets from Rondo of Blood, but it wasn't like a port of Rondo of Blood. I thought it would have been really cool if they had taken more assets from the arcade version of Ninja Turtles, like the first game, and kind of incorporated that more into the game. So it's almost like a Turtles 1.5 in a way. These guys take 2 hits on the NES version for some reason. So I don't know how far I will make it, or if I'm going to play the whole game or not. If I do, it's going to be a long video. That's okay. It's been a while since I played this. These guys you can just straight up attack, you don't have to worry about that little quick counterattack they do. Just whack, whack. Oh. Mousers, which were a popular villain, a popular toy, but you only saw them on one episode. See, like if I walk up and hit them, just straight up attack them, you always get like a little cheap shot in. So if you're used to playing the arcade game, you gotta be careful. Also, in both these games, and also in Turtles in Time as well, is there's always two guys trying to surround you, so you gotta watch out for that. Also, if you're watch my recent videos and you're wondering where Mako is, she was a little terror about 20 minutes ago, climbing up all sorts of stuff, and then she pooped out and now she's sleeping somewhere. We'll see if she comes out before the end of this video. So in the arcade version, you can actually just kind of, with Leonardo at least, you can kind of stand here at the end and just swing your weapon. So it looks like it works well in this one too. Donatello, it's a little harder to do it because I don't think the hitbox when you're swinging your weapon with Donatello is as wide. It's more straight ahead. It's more longer. Yeah, the strategy works well in the NES version and the arcade version, so that's kind of cool. Also, that level I'm playing right there in the arcade version, that's the quarter sucker level right there. I've never successfully even come close to beating that level on 1/4. Oh, killed 200 guys, got an extra life. For every enemy you kill, you get a point, and 200 points you get an extra life. Of course, here you're fighting Baxter Stockman, which eventually he becomes a fly in the cartoon. And in the NES version, you will fight his life form. There we go. But instead of fighting Bebop and Rocksteady as a pair, you fight the fly version of Baxter Stockman. But you also fight him in Turtles in Time. Yep, there he is right there. Which is funny because in the last Ninja Turtles movie, the Megan Fox movie, they made the character black. However, he was black in the original comic. In case you didn't know that. So it's actually more authentic to the source material.
You gotta stay winter.
I want to say it was like a 3rd or 4th season of the cartoon. I forget what season, but it was when it was an hour long, and like the first half hour was like a Shredder and Krang episode. It was the one where the Technodrome got stranded in Dimension X and it was like stuck in the rock after the lava solidified. But the second half hour was an episode where it didn't have Shredder or Krang in it, and it actually introduced Baxter Stockman's brother, Barney Stockman, which is basically just an excuse to bring back a character that looked like the human version of Baxter Stockman. Of course, this is the snow level here. This is a level they added to the NES version that was not in the arcade version. And this stage here, I believe, is a reference to the cartoon episode where they introduced 2 characters with the alien characters from Dimension X with the flying car, or 3 characters. 3 characters, 2 cars. They go around like the flying cars. I forget the names of the characters. But what happened is they released like this little orb thing that flew up into the sky and caused a bunch of snow in New York in the middle of summer. And at the end of the episode, they fly up in one of the cars and Leonardo jumps out of the car and slices it in half and then lands back in the car. Can't believe I remember that. Another Pizza Hut sign. You know, maybe I'll have some Pizza Hut tomorrow now after playing this. These little snowman guys are actually kind of stupid in my opinion. But, whatever. It is what it is. I got some sniffles. Got some allergies. Of course, weather getting nicer. It's triggering my allergies a little bit. But I know it's not from our cat, so that's good.
Pizza time. The turtles.
Yeah, I remember I was a huge fan of the cartoon when it came out. I remember when I first saw the commercial for one of the toys, I thought it was like the stupidest thing ever. Oh yeah, so that's that little orb thing right there that controls the weather. Which, it's also same orb, or at least it's modeled after the one from that cartoon episode. And I forget the episode's name. Of course, this boss here, I believe it's an original character for the game. I don't remember this ever showing up in the earlier seasons of the cartoon. Which is unfortunate they actually didn't use a character from the cartoon, like the earlier seasons or something like that. But that's okay. There was plenty of characters they could have used. Might have been like a concept character, or maybe a character from the early comics or something like that. If you know if this character is from the original source material, like the original comics or something, leave a comment down below. I'm kind of curious to know that, actually. There we go. Now the weather will get nicer. Now the game picks off where the arcade version left. And I should probably have the sound going on one of the games just for a little comparison here. Let's see, let's cut the sound from the arcade version side. So you can hear just the NES version. We'll do a little comparison. Just the sound quality. Of course, the arcade game actually had a special hardware chip to store the theme song, if I remember correctly. Which the Sega CD port would have actually been perfect for the arcade version at the time, because you could just capture the theme song on like a CD audio track or something. Could add like some cartoon cutscenes or something like that. That would have been really cool at the time. This blue car should probably come out. There we go. I remember Nintendo Power had like a top 20 or top 25, I forget the exact number, but it was like a top number of NES games for the month. And for the longest time, it was Super Mario 3. And this came out, and then actually toppled Super Mario 3. Oops! It tricked me. It changed the car color. And we'll switch the sound over real quick here. Okay, get the icons here. Oops, I did that wrong. You know what? Let's drag it over. There we go. So in case anyone's watching in the middle of this video. I actually had just a button to click, so, you know, make it all fancy, so you do the editing afterwards. Kind of do it in real time. But I messed it up, but that's okay. Yeah, a lot of the sound effects and everything in the game were really good. A lot of the music was good. But if I remember correctly, because I remember reading the specs of the arcade motherboard, used the same CPU and some of the same hardware as the Genesis and the Genesis and Sega CD. That Motorola chip, and so it probably would have been a lot simpler to port that over. So of course here we fight the fly version of Baxter Stockman. Ooh, I remember this pattern now. Get trapped in the corner and just jump kick him. Oop, almost. Of course, the NES probably couldn't at the time handle 2 boss characters at once. It might have been able to find a way to do it. Another Pizza Hut sign in the background. Of course, we got the street level. What's funny is I remember a couple months after this game came out, maybe it was about 3 or 4 months, but I remember like the editorial section in Nintendo Power, where, you know, fans could write in letters and they would answer them. Going back and reading it, the guy actually come across as kind of an asshole, but I remember people, or I remember a particular letter asked about why the graphics on the arcade version looked better on the NES, but it was written like the quality of the picture. It was a little more obviously he was talking about the graphics, but they kind of answered the question like he was talking about like the video signal. Like they talked about the difference of like an RF output of an NES versus an RGB output of a arcade motherboard, which really did not answer the question at all. It basically avoided talking about the limitations of the NES hardware. go. Of course, here's guys that just come and throw a bunch of dynamite, which these guys did not really exist in the arcade version. They're the ones that threw the dynamite from behind the corner, then they come out and fight you like a regular foot soldier. The NES versions, they just come out and they just throw constant dynamite at you. And also the spear guys, which I cannot stand in the arcade version. They would throw the spear and that'd be it. Where the NES version, they can just throw as many spears as they want. Could not jump quick enough. That's okay. It's funny because they had these guys throwing the bombs, and you can fight them. They turn into regular guys. Oh, shell shocked. Of course, there's the crane fight. Yeah, the graphics at the time were really, really good. And it's really cool how close it looked to the cartoon. Probably still my favorite beat 'em up game of all time is that Ninja Turtles game right there. And it's unfortunate that the 360 version, I don't know if they ever came out on PlayStation 3. I don't think it did. Because I don't think the PlayStation 3 was out yet, or it just come out. But, yeah, 360 version was $5 when it came out digitally. And you can't get it anymore because they pulled off the marketplace. Same with the Simpsons arcade game. But if you've bought it previously, and you still have your Xbox Live account, you just go into your history and just re-download it. Which I had to do when I swapped out hard drives a couple years ago. It's a tedious process, but you can do it. But at the time, and you probably still can too, just can't find people online that want to play it. But you could actually, it supported online play, and internet back then wasn't as good as it is now. So it'd be a little laggy. It'd probably be a little better now if you actually found a game. But I mean, if you and a bunch of people still have the game, you could still party up and play it on Xbox Live. So yeah, like I talked about earlier, this level is the quarter sucker. The NES version is not nearly as hard. Because you don't get like a bunch of these, and the bombs they drop, like those there, don't cover as much ground. A little easier to kill. Now, of course, they made Ninja Turtles 3 on the NES, which was just a straight-up original game. And I have it. I've only played a little bit of it, but I've never really played it a lot. Which, of course, when the Turtles in Time came out on Super Nintendo, that's why they called it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. And the arcade version was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Turtles in Time. Of course, you see me fighting Shredder in the arcade side there. I'm just going to call it the arcade version just because it's a port of the arcade version on 360. But the Shredder fight, he actually splits up into two different Shredders. So there's a real one and a fake one. And the fake one is a lot easier to kill. But instead of flashing when he gets weak, you knock his helmet off. And you gotta watch out for that one-hit kill. Oh, that one-hit kill sucked back in the arcade version. If you put a quarter in, and then you do that to you a couple times, there goes your quarter, just like that. But, the weaker one, of course, his helmet will get knocked off sooner. So you go for the stronger one. But it's kind of a 50-50 chance of which is which. Or if you got like a bunch of people playing, there'll actually be 3 of them. And then when both their helmets are knocked off, you just kind of have to, like, you know, keep track of which one's which. Oops. There we go. When I first played the arcade version, I used to like to play Donatello just because, one, it was in the center, because the arcade version being 4-player, there'd be like the 2 on the side, so it's kind of hard to play from the side. And between Michelangelo and Donatello, Donatello had the longer reach, so I'd go for Donatello. Now when I play the arcade version, I will also play Leonardo. It's a little difficult to do on the side, but it's not too bad. There was also an arcade version that was 2-player, but it was only released in the UK and in Japan. But there are some ROM hacks that people sell. You can actually get the ROMs and put them in your American 4-player Ninja Turtle board, and it turns it into a 2-player version. And just in case you have only a 2-player cabinet. Oops, oops. There we go. So these guys are only coming out 2 at a time. They're not coming out 3 like normal. Probably because of this thing right here, the laser. These guys were not in the arcade version. I think these are the guys that Krang drops in Turtles in Time on the Starbase level. Of course, I beat the arcade port on the 360 side there. But as you can see, it probably took me about $10 worth of quarters. It was actual quarter money. Oh, come on. I hit the barrel. There we go. Oh, they weren't close enough. Oh, well, got one. Sweet. Of course, here comes a little transport module elevator. Which in the cartoon, you only saw that version of the transport module in the first couple episodes. Then in later episodes, they did the transport module where it was actually like a vehicle, actually come out and had like little tank treads or whatever it was on it. But that version of it just went straight up. It was basically extended from the Technodrome. It was like basically like an elevator. And yes, I remember it because it was a great cartoon. Oh, they got me pinned down in the corner. There we go. Boomerang guys are a pain. Of course, I'll try and shut up for a second. You'll hear the Ninja Turtles theme song. Played on the arcade version. It's so good. I think now the video loops around. Yeah, the video's going to loop now. Oh, come on. There we go. So yeah, let's switch the sound over to the other side here. So back to the music and sound from the NES version. Another Pizza Hut ad. Can't get enough Pizza Hut. Ooh, yeah, let's grab this pizza. Speaking of Pizza Hut. Now we fight the rock monster, or the rock soldier lieutenant. In the arcade version, you can do just a straight up jump attack. But when you attack with a jump, you basically want to jump over his attack. You want to jump over him just right to where he does like a little melee attack, and then you jump down after he swings his melee attack. If you do it right, which probably saw me earlier, you can actually get him in a pretty good pattern. I had a little trouble with it earlier. The NES version is just straight up jump kick. Pretty similar, actually. You don't want to hit him like straight up where you're level with him. You want to be like a little higher or a little lower, especially in the arcade version. Make it a little easier for him to not attack you when you land, or to avoid the attacks if he does. It's definitely a little difficult to do, but it's easier to do it when you fight Krang, because Krang is basically, you use the same strategy, or at least that's what I do. If there's any like way better strategy that I don't know of, then I should probably look it up one of these days. Of course, this guy has a flamethrower. I don't know this character's name. I think it's just Rock Soldier or Rock Soldier Lieutenant or something like that. But the other one is General Tragg. Well, yeah, they were in the cartoon. As were various rock soldiers here and there. Alright. Now there's going to be one extra level that's not in the arcade version we're going to play here. So instead of going straight down, you actually go up. Because that makes sense when the Technodrome is right down there. Oh, I remember these guys. These guys are stupid. Yeah, I'm actually not a fan of this bonus stage at all. But they probably added the extra stages and whatnot because they didn't want parents to spend $50 or however much it was for a brand new NES game at the time. Might even been 60. But you know, spend that much money on a brand new NES game and then they beat it in 20 minutes. You know, get my character more in the center here. You know, I should have made some pizza to eat while playing this. That's a good time to talk about the Ninja Turtles movie that came out, like the original one. The original live-action one where they used like the puppet heads and whatnot. That was a good movie. Kind of took a lot more from the source, like the comics, than the cartoon, because it didn't have any like Krang or Bebop and Rocksteady or Dimension X or anything like that. But it was nice and simple. The first movie was definitely what it needed to be. The second movie, The Secret of the Ooze, that should have introduced... I hate this part. That should introduce like the Dimension X and all that kind of stuff. Which the latest Michael Bay movie did, but it was okay. Not as good as the original one. Let's see, I think there was an easy way to kill this thing if I remember correctly. Okay, now I'm remembering. Ooh, shell shock. 2 lives left. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it's 2 lives reserved. So let me go down to 0. And robot scorpions, which to my knowledge were also not in the cartoon. There we go. I gotta fight these stupid looking things again. Yeah, it's kind of weird that they added new characters like this when there was plenty of source material from the cartoons. Because they had I want to say they had a couple seasons in at this point. I think it's a boss fight coming up right there. We got an extra life, so that's good. Yeah, might as well grab that. When I say the pizza, I try to wait till my health gets a little lower. So I think I can do the same jump kick pattern. Yeah. Just gotta watch out for the long reach. I think his head, yep, his head flies off. So you gotta watch out for the flying head. There we go. Let's hope his head stays on. Ah, god dang it. Ugh, head is annoying. It's okay, we almost got him. There we go. 2 lives left. See if we can beat this game without continuing. There it is, the Technodrome. I used to have a decent amount of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to them, though. I remember I kept them in a duffel bag, and I had my parents put them in the attic, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared. Which I'm wondering if they ended up at the Goodwill, and my mom just never told me. Which greatly upsets me to this day. But I remember wanting the Technodrome toy. Because you can never find it anywhere at a toy store or anything. And then one day when we were in Reno visiting my grandmother, I remember seeing it at Toys R Us. I didn't have the money with me at the time. So I tried to get my mom and my grandmother to buy it for me. Which of course they said no. So I never got it, unfortunately. Which is probably a good idea, because I would have had to pay them back, and it would have disappeared with the rest of my Ninja Turtle toys. Which actually took really good care of my Ninja Turtle toys as well. It wasn't like my Transformers when I was, because I was really young with Transformers, and then all of a sudden I'd lose a gun or something like that. Also didn't help having 4 sisters. But come on, I just want to hit it. How do you hit that thing? There we go. It's much harder to... Oh, you gotta get closer, okay. So we'll jump over all that crap. Of course, now it's gonna... Something's gonna repeat, it looks like. Because I think the arcade version went straight to the elevator. Another funny thing is, I remember playing the NES version at home, and I remember the foot soldiers, like the default ones that were purple, didn't quite look purple enough to me, so I would constantly adjust the tint on my television in my bedroom to make them look more accurate to the arcade version or the TV show, which of course would throw everything else off a little bit. These things are a pain. There we go. They did a good job with the music on this stage on the NES version. Ooh. Easier to just jump over them. Oh, now we got the elevator. So yeah, that little part there was in a little extension, kind of looped around. Hopefully there's a pizza down here. So I think I'm going to need it. Yeah, there we go. I don't really talk about the Game Boy game at all. I remember getting the Game Boy game, just the first one. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. Of course, the Roadkill Rodneys in the cartoon were a little bit smaller than they're portrayed in the video games, if I remember correctly. So they're only in like one episode, I think. There we go. And of course the sledgehammer foot soldiers. A little harder to fight in the arcade version just because of the sledgehammer ones and the ones with the spears. Not as much as sledgehammer ones, just because their attacks have quite a bit of length to them. All right, here we are. Gotta stay away from the door. So here we're fighting General Tragg. Now his movements and his patterns and everything are pretty much identical to the other foot soldier, or the other rock soldier, but he's harder because you don't have as much room to maneuver because you got the little gate over there in the wall. Ooh, am I going to survive this? Oh, this is going to be close. Oh, crap. I'm probably going to have to repeat this level. Ugh. Oh, it got me with a rocket, I think. Come on, get back up here. Oop! Oh man, that was not good. I'm sweating a little bit. Oh jeez, I can't believe I did that again. Oh, this is not good. Oh, that was close. I was scared there. So he's not even flashing yet. Doing a better job avoiding his hits. So I'm trying to, when I'm attacking him, I'm trying to stay just slightly below him. Oh, not good. He's not even flashing yet. Come on. Okay, there we go. Yes! Oh, yes. Thank you. Oh, no lives left. Just a little bit of health. So close. And here it's basically the same attack pattern here. You kind of want to get the top of the head and avoid the shots from the eyes. Of course, I'll end up using a continue here, which should bring me right back to this stage. I shouldn't have to do the whole Technodrome stage over again, which I'm just going to let him hit me. That way I don't use up too much time. Come on, here's a shot. Go ahead and kill me. There we go. You know, we will continue. Sweet, right back at Krang. Which we got 9 lives, so we should be okay. See there on the other side, you'll see me fighting the rock soldier there. Kind of using the same strategy I'm using now, but I'm doing like the swing attack, which of course the swing attack does a lot more damage. And when you're playing as Leonardo, and I don't know if it's with Michelangelo or Raphael as well, I know it's one of the two, they have that wider hit attack, so you can kind of get a little farther below them or above them and hit them and not have to worry about getting counterattacked. Even more so with Krang on the arcade version. Actually, this might work out pretty good. It's not too bad, actually. Actually, it works out okay. I'm gonna keep doing this. I think it's working out better. It's kind of weird how the rock soldiers and Krang, when they get weak, they start flashing slowly, and then they start flashing faster and faster the weaker they get. And on the NES version, they just flash at a steady rate. But with Bebop and Rocksteady, they flash at a steady rate, and on the NES version, they flash slowly and flash faster depending on how weak they are. And it's the opposite of the two versions. It's weird that they did that for whatever reason. Now we fight Shredder, who's voiced by Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince. Okay, so the one with the helmet came off, so he's the weak one. So he's the fake one. So we gotta keep attacking on the one with the helmet. Because if we kill the fake one, they'll just duplicate again, and you won't know which one's which again. And I think he does the one-hit kill in this game as well. The lightning thing. Oops. That's okay. Go back to attacking them both. Yeah, I'm not seeing the lightning attack, so he might not do in the NES version. Definitely have an easier time with Shredder than I did with Krang. I'm kind of hoping that now that the 1-Up arcade machine is getting released with this game, that's a sign that this game will get re-released on the consoles. It'd be cool to play it on Nintendo Switch or Xbox One or something. So now they're going to duplicate. Oh no, it doesn't duplicate. Okay. That makes it easy. Yeah. That is Ninja Turtles on the NES. So, Freak the Foots, Mangle the Mousers, and Total the Technodrome. It's funny because if you beat the Game Boy, the first Game Boy Turtles game, it has the same ending. Exact same ending. So yeah, that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game on NES, and also its arcade counterpart, the 360 version. Let me know what you think of the game, or if you have any fond memories. I absolutely love this game. I forgot how good and how much fun the NES version was. Of course, it's not as good as the arcade version, but back then, it was what we had. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Please leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thank you for coming to my video. If you would like to help my channel grow, please like and subscribe, and please click on this little bell icon so you never miss a future video.